Welcome back. And today's class we're going to discuss about the topics data type. In the previous class we discussed about the topic variables. Just go through the topics variables. That means variables is nothing but a container that is used to store the values inside the memory locations. This here is the syntax, data types, and the variables name. Before that we discussed. Let me know what is data types. Data types is nothing but if you want to store any values inside the memory location, you need to know which type of value are storing, which type of value are accessing or taking the input, right? That's the reason data type was introduced. There are mainly two types of data types: primitive and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types is nothing but single value stored data types. Here, let me create. I created one package data type. In that, I'm going to create one class called primitive data type. Primitive data type. Right. The primitive data type. Let me explain the concept. You already know that slash star slash is for commenting, multi-line commenting. Primitive data type. Means used to store the single value, which means the data type is going to store a single value inside variable. Single value we have to store, then we use the primitive data types. Mainly primitive data type, I think 7 is there correctly. One primitive data types, like first one is a byte. Byte is nothing but if you want to store, it's also some digits number. It's going to store like 8 bits, right? Its concepts 8 bits. Second one is short. Short is nothing but 2 bytes. 2 bytes means how many bytes? How many bits? 2 into 8 is nothing but 16, right? Next, third one is, take an example, integer. In the integer part, how many parts? 4 bytes, nothing but 32 bits, right? Next one, if you want to store multiple floating values, float. A is missing, right? Float. Float is also same as an integer type. Giving an example is nothing but 1 byte. It's also same, 1 bit, 1, 2, 3, which means 8 bits. Like zeros and ones, if you write 2 power n, right? 1, 2, 4, and 8. We have to store 4 like that. And if you give an example, it's also same up to, like here you can store it's a power like a minus 12, 2 point something digits to plus uh, 20 lakh, like that. It's have this range minus, and in the character part it comes to 254, I think, ASCII values. That how it's going to store. And second, fourth one is character. Character is nothing but 1 byte. 2 bytes, right? 2 bytes. And sixth one is long double. I'm not writing correct, which means not in an order. I'm writing long is nothing but 8 byte, which means 64 bits. here. Here we represent what is the difference between long and double, which means if we want to store long values, which means when integer has its limits, right? After it limits, we have to store multiple, like more 2 billion, like that. We have to store inside the long data type. Means you have to use that. And if you want to use like 2 point something 15 digit, after 15 digit, uh, up to 15 digit float will store. More than that, we have to use the double, which means it's an 82 bits, 32, sorry, 64 bits, 8 byte, 64 byte. So we use the double. Next one is Boolean. Boolean is nothing but one, not a byte, which means either is assumed, which means 0 or 1, or true or false. Like that, we have to store. Let me take here, for taking a user input, we having a different types of methods. So let me take the user input and print it out for each data types. We write inside the main method, because everything what we return inside the main method, that will be printed here. In the main method, declaring, first we have to create an object for creating a scanner object for taking the user input. This is equal to new scanner system dot in data. The scanner is not imported, which means either you can over on it, it will shows which scanner, which means which package needs to import, or if you close the object, that will edge to, that will means after this we cannot um, taking the user input. Before that, we have to take a user input, right? First one is tell the users to so enter the byte value. Byte byte, now it becomes an object. This means uh, I want it called, if I write any data types in capital letter, that will treated as a class, not a data types, which means already it has its declarations. Byte, can you see here, it's a public final class. All the it we call generic class also, to create, to make Java is an object oriented language, as generic is a main important topic for that. To create an object for this, to create an object for these data types, uh, here, to make typecasting safety and without converting each and every values, it will all these concepts will cover under comparable, like collections part. When we go through the collections, we'll discuss about the first topics, next go to the other topics, right? Byte byte small b is different from capital B, which means it's a case sensitive language, right? New, sorry, sc dot next byte. This is a method is already declared inside the scanner class. How do I scrolling, either it's declared or not, just click on this, it will go into it, go to the class where it is defined, means everything is defined inside the scanner class. Here everything is defined inside the scanner class only. We have to import this and we have to do. Can you see the class? I think you have not seen. The complete class is defined as scanner dot class, right? And let me copy this one. Tell the user to enter short value. Short is equal to new, sorry, sc dot next short. Enter the integer value. In is equal to n is equal to new. Sorry, I'm using new again. Explain. And I have to explain here when it comes to a non-primitive data type, when we introduced, like when you're taking a character input, which is best method, when taking a your string input, which is best method, that will is to take. Character is nothing but like 2 bytes means either if you tap on, if I'll show the example. Character, character is equal to sc dot next is for string, and for this next line is there. Both are used for integer. There is no inbuilt method to take an user input for the character purpose. If I take a next, we have to change it to a next like this, which means for this we have to do character at 0, which means first character will be taken. This is how taken the user input for the character variables. Or if I want to take in the next line, which is also for, there is no inbuilt method. So this is how you have to take an user input for this. And why two methods are defining for next and next line for the string data types, which means will show you next line, and next will taken that particular line which what user is entering, which means next line what is taken. If you tab is also taken as an user input. That's the reason best way to use next, not a next line. Understood? And I copied by enter float like this. Now float is equal to sc dot next float. All the methods are defined, and what we namespace is as called camel case, which means first word is a small. When we starting next word, it should be capital, right? These are concepts concerned or reactions naming completely that we have to follow that part. Camel case, Pascal case, like that. I will also cover those topics here. And for each and every data type we having, I will show is c dot next. We have to write for the long, right? Next long. Can you see? Next long is there. Next has next long. These are all Boolean values. If you want to take a Boolean value, you can take it a Boolean value, and you can for the right for double, right? There's a double. Next double is there. Next double is there as next double, which means that array or that word what we entering user is the double value. Is the double value, it's going to show true value. If it is not a double value, that will show a false. This is how there is everything is inbuilt. I think it's enough for that. Then let me print those. There is no compulsory to close this uh, scanner object, but it's a good way to close any object if you cloud like inbuilt object if you call better to close like once a JDBC concepts there is everything we close this object once we create it for the security purpose, but here not is compulsory because it's everything is updated now. Now going to print values which we taken from the user. For printing we use the byte value. Just copy this part, change this to second one is short, right? Short. Third one is, let me print as it is, plus b plus s plus n. Next one is float, I think. Float plus what we taken? I think we taken 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 character plus c. Next, now are we going to execute this? We have not saved the class. This is not our class day3. Right click, run as Java application, enter a byte value 3, short value 2, integer value 45, character value like we entering name Sinchana. But what going to take a character? Tell me. Now it's going to take a first value, means this like everything it with in zeros base index, which means 0, I is 1, n is 2, like index wise it's going to take. Next one is floating value polygon like this. Can you see? See, yes, only taken, not taken anything. This is how primitive data type will works. Let me take an example of non-primitive data types now. Non-primitive data type. Non-primitive data types is nothing but we want to store multiple values. Arrays, strings are all non-primitive data types. First one is array. Second one is a string. Third one is method, or we also called, or we can say functions, anything. We can class is also a data type, which means non-primitive data type. If you taken like when you go with OOPS concept, in a single class we can write multiple methods. Each and every method will be treated as is one of the state, right? Which means one of the class is treated as this is now it will taken as its parent. If you're writing any methods like its child, treated like that. which means we are storing multiple values, right? One method, second method, third method, we are going to store inside a single class that we call non-primitive data type. If you have to declare an array means first we have to take a data type, which data type we are value we are storing. Arrays is nothing but it's a statically it's not a dynamic sizing, static sizing, which means we have to declare first its size, and then when we're declaring arrays, like here, a array is equal to new int of, we have to declare some array size, like means how many values we're going to store inside a single array, which means 8 values in a single array we can store. We can declare these like this also. We can declare like int, this is our compulsory, this is compulsory, and this is also compulsory, right? Which means we are storing multiple values. This is an array symbol, right? Array is equal to, we can write this also, we can write now size is how many values we declaring, that much of size will be taken, which means here 5 values will be taken. How index will work, let me know that. First one is 0th index. At 0th index 1 value is stored, and index 2 value is stored, 2 in second index third values is stored, fourth index 4 values is stored, and for this we have to print, when printing this, and we have to use a for loop, like looping statement we have to use. Without a looping statement, how we going to print means array array of, we have to like this one array of 2 first, and array of 2 or 3 array of 4. We have to print like this. It's taking like we are printing multiple values inside this. Like the system out.println, it will show an error because in one printing statement whether we have to use we know, right, format specifier or plus symbols like this. Show how to declare we want to store multiple values with us. Like this, Andre, we have to use multiple, how many size of system out.println we have to write at that much of time, system out.println, system out.println, if we are not using the looping statement. That is the reason I am using the looping statement here. I less than size means we know 5. If we don't know size, what we do, because in Java for array there is an inbuilt method length, we no need to write. By using length we can write. Like now I'm printing system out.println I plus 1 first value I. Now how it means 0th index will print Next I goes to increment, then first element going to print, then again I incremented, second value going to print, I incremented third up to which is less than 5, which means 5, right, is 0 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 only it's going to take. That's the reason we are not giving less, sorry, is equal to, we're giving less than, that's all. If I start here 1, then go with is equal to. If I start with 0, then less than is enough, right? Let me run this program. D3, which projects? Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 5. Oh. First value is 1, second value is second, third value is third, fourth value is 4, 5, fifth value is 5. This is how. Now we learn looping statement also, right? That's how. And when you take a string example in a non-primitive data type, right? When you're giving an input Sinchana as a name, is a string. It means multiple character in a single word we are giving. We're taking only one input. Instead of these, let me take one here non-primitive data type. Take an example of string. Enter a string. Right. We have to create a scanner object for this. No need same. See, it did not be same. You can give any name for this. It's an instance variable. String is equal to c dot next and next line. What is the difference? We'll know. And taking other input also. Let me take one extra input integer value. Now we print. Yes. Print in. Now it will work correctly. How will they? Enter a string values in Java. Now the value is printing, right? Now let's see next line. If I put in next line, what is going to happen? Here, if I taking integer put it taking correctly. If I taking again the next value, string n is equal to n is I think introduced. S1 is equal to c dot next and put something like this. What happens? You have to say I'm entering a string values in Java. I think I have not printed right. S1. which means the tab is also taken as an user input. Now, can you see? Same channel. No, it's taking no. It's what happens means if a tab is also taken as a one character, better to use next, not a next line. Did you understood? Now it's taking, but sometimes it won't take. Better to use next instead of next line. That's one. This is how primitive and non-primitive data types will works. And next concept is if needed, this notes I will share with my GitHub account. I will link those GitHub account link into the attach that links. Go through the PDF if needed. What is the main two types of categories in Java data type? Primitive, non-primitive. Write a program to print name, age, and favorites. Like create a one variable called name and age. Name is a string. Age is an integer. Favorite subject is also an integer. What is the difference between int and double data types? Int, int you have to store a integer value. Double value you have to store a floating value. Then go with the double. Integer is 32-bit. Double is nothing but 64-bit. Like that you have to answer. What does scanner object do in Java? Scanner object used to take a user input. Right. And the next class we'll discuss operators. It's a simple thing. Arithmetic, relational, logical, assignment, unary operator, ternary operator, and bitwise operator. That two in the next classes.